Hey guys, Agnard here. Hey, today we're going to talk about hay rings a little bit. So what we do here on our farm is we use the typical square tubing hay ring that it's either shop built or home built. You just get 1-inch square tubing, 16 gauge, 24 foot long, and you get that piece of tubing rolled. Not in a pipe bender, but in a pipe roller. And a pipe bender just bends in one specific spot. A roller will roll the whole thing, and that's what typically is used to build a hay ring. And so, like I said, it's 1-inch, 16 gauge thin wall square tubing, 24 foot long. Your standard square tubing stick comes in 20 foot long, but these are 24, and you typically have 5 uprights, and you position those around. You clamp your ring around it, weld it out. You can oftentimes find these at a high school, an FFA ag department. I know when I was an ag teacher, we probably built at least 100 a year, and they work out pretty good. What you're seeing here is something that I always talked about doing for years and years. I call it a hay dome, and we took an old hay ring, cut it up, and welded it on top so that we put a tarp on it. And when we've reduced our herd size quite a bit, and when we were running full throttle, we were feeding 1 to 2 round bales a day. And so it wasn't a big deal, but since we've reduced down, a round bale will last 2 to 3 days. And last thing a cow wants to do is eat nasty wet hay, so we put that tarp on here, and it helps from some of the rain getting down and getting the hay wet. Now, I'm not saying it's a perfect scenario, but at least it makes me feel better. So anyhow, we're gonna move this, put out a new round bale for the babies. The whole point of doing putting a round bale out is it keeps your cows from getting in your hay, stomping on it, pooping on it, because then they certainly don't want to eat it. So anyhow, here we go. Okay, so Mrs. Agnard got me a new tarp. It's an 8x10. I'm gonna put it on top of that tarp, keep that tarp kind of double layer it. I'm gonna use some old baling wire or twine or some old wire just to tie it on, and we'll go from there. Always good to have baling wire, just some old baling wire with you. So we got it put on, tied down. just FYI, if you're putting your tarp, if you build one of these and you go to put your tarp on and you use baling wire or any type of tie wire, make sure that you leave your ends pointed in a direction where it won't get in a cow's eye. So anyhow. Cow approved. It's not pretty, but it sure does help. Hey guys, Ag Nerd here. Man, it's a raining son of a gun. Cows are down there in the creek bottom. Of course, me and the dog are the only ones silly enough to be out in this rain. But I did want to show you our hay dome and our hay dome in action. This is exactly why we bought it. Not bought it. This is exactly why we built it. So, whoo, much nicer in here. We built this thing to keep our hay dry, albeit it doesn't keep it completely dry, but it eliminates a lot of the waste. There's not pouring rainfall coming in the center of it. The outsides may get a little bit of rain, but on the most part, it's a hay saver. Now, for you guys that unroll your round bales and all that, that's great. That works good for you. But for me, I don't feed. When I used to have a bunch of mama cows, I could feed 2 round bales in a day. But I'm down to a round bale. I'm down in my cows, mama cows, to where a round bale will last me 2 to 3 days. And so if I put this round bale out this morning, with all this rainfall, it would be undesirable. They'd eat it, they'd mess around with it, but they'd leave a lot of waste. So once again, for my operation, this hay dome works great. Now obviously I just threw it together and it could be a lot better scenario, but for just throwing together a couple of old hay rings and a tarp and some baling twine and some baling wire, come on, it's easy. It's a no-brainer. As you see, my other hay ring out there, I don't know if you can make it out in the picture, but it's wide open. Obviously I don't have any hay in it right now, but you can imagine the waste that would be going on. So anyway, just wanted to give you an update. Ag Nerd out. God bless you and your family.